A pleasant good evening to one and all gathered here. I would like to introduce about our honorable chief guest, Mr. A. Sasikumar Ayasamy sir. He is the head of testing engine and vehicle testing, JM Automotive Private Limited. He has 16 years experience in that company, and also he worked 3 years in ABT Maruti as a branch manager and 2 years in RSPV Tata Motors dealer and 4 years in Putkaran Engine Rebuilders as a senior supervisor. He completed BE, MBA and doing integrated PhD now. He is joint secretary in Society for Smart E-Mobility and MC member in SAE Coimbatore division. Even though he is busy, he is sharing his valuable time and experience with us. We are very proud to be here with you, sir.
Yeah,
I,
thank you.
I hand over
Thank
the
you.
session to Mr. A. Sasikumar Ayasamy, sir. Thank you, sir. Can you take over the session, sir?
Yeah, thanks, madam. Thanks for all our invitations. Very well, this thanks. So everybody here is very thankful to stay here for the Saturday evening. Okay, we can start for session. So the sharing option is not come for the
Sir?
sharing option, that presentation sharing option.
Sir, available, sir? Sir, present now.
Sorry, yeah, present now.
Yeah,
Okay.
present now, yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah, welcome all. Is I am Sasikumar. I'm working in JM Automotives last 16 years as a testing head. They're looking in our company. We are doing R&D for Tata Motors and other OEMs for supporting new vehicle development and testing for engine and as well as vehicle, and then proto vehicle development and race car manufacturing, electric car manufacturing, and on-site engineers supporting for technical team design and design and development, engine testing, vehicle testing, all manpower supply to all the OEMs like Tata, Ford, Daimler, and JLR. We are doing JLR also. So things all the OEMs we are supporting for in India and abroad. So this is our core work for the company. So now we are looking for development and performance testing from ICV to EV. Aware about as of now in the current trend in BS6 currently is there. So in previous BS Bharat stage, emission from 1 to 3 and 4. Last year is the 4, now is converted to BS6 instead of BS5 directly. This is for due to we need to save our environment and giving for the green environment to our future environment. So that's the reason we are approaching. We are doing a lot of R&D work work for in the BS4 to BS6 currently is there. Unfortunately, this corona came. And now the BS6 vehicles is not sale at a time. So in between, we do electric vehicle also. So as per the government norms, the BS6 up to starting at 2020 April up to 2030. So around the 2030, we can start for EV. This is the government norms they're planning. But already started a lot of companies doing the R&D work about the electric vehicle development and testing. So some of vehicle already is in the market for sales also. So we need to keep it clean and green environment by using reduction of emission and pollution. This is the development and performance testing. The ultimate test for any engine or motor is how it performs. So how is it perform the engine or motors, that is need for the testing. So why the need of testing? So every peoples need to buy the vehicle. This is the main factor. They consider performance, fuel consumption, emission level, and life of the engine or motor. It's sub-components. This is the normal scenario. So suppose we are going to buy the new vehicle. First consideration of ours the cost and vehicle how is performing the performance and fuel consumption for the running cost and what is the life of the vehicle. So these are all the factors. So as of now, the government announced to this, so 15 years need to be the vehicle need to scrap. So like that, this lot of rules and regulations is coming up for the in Indian government based on the European countries. So European country already is there for Euro 6 norms and EVs is lot of vehicle is running. So that all the Euro norms things will come into the picture in India also. Now BS6 is going on. So coming next will go to EV. So today we are going to discuss about why need the development need of development testing and what is the IC versus EV components and testing agencies for testing and certification, types of testing for new development in ICV/EV, and performance testing for power and torque, and common level testing, type of dyno, we are dynos and instrument used for the testing. So in the testing, we in present every day, if now we doing testing now, this is for in future only. So the R&D validation is currently whatever they're doing in all the OEMs for R&D validation, that's why coming for, it's going to come in future. So that is the testing. It's not immediate today's testing. Today itself will not sales everything. So we need for the R&D testing in the is now, that's coming up in the future vehicles. So like that only we are R&D supporting for all OEMs. Only production vehicles is coming in the picture in the today development. Today production will come in the market, but in the R&D in today will done, that will going to launching in future. So why need of testing? The growing demand of transportation, IC and EV have gained lot of importance in automotive industries. It's necessary for efficient economical vehicle, like whatever we are telling about before. This is performance, fuel efficiency, and emissionless. So everything. This is all for the efficient economical vehicles. While developing ICV and EV required to take consideration of all parameters affecting the vehicle design and performance. For example, if you taking a design, during a design, we not possible to consider all the points. So we need to be considered for the all affecting parameters is need to be considered for during designing, but we not possible to consider for all the parameters. So that's the reason we need to take a vehicle developing a proto vehicle and need to be run with like engine level or in the vehicle level in on road. We need to run the vehicle or in the for testing. And what are the failures will come? We go back to redesign the vehicle, and after that only come to the in the market. So this is a lot of proto batches is available for during the vehicle development stage. So it became necessary to conduct a test, vehicle engine motor component level. Why this needed? So we need to be testing. That's whatever the failures or any problems come, that's we need to consider and redesign the vehicle or component. And again we need to test. This testing area testing stage is okay, then only this going to production batch, and after production that will get come to the market. So this all process will be approved by the government agencies. Have a lot of different agencies available in India that will they are giving the certification for this vehicle is roadworthy vehicle. Then it is possible to launch the vehicle in for customers. So to determine the measure to be taken for improving engine performance, fuel consumption, life, reducing emissions. So whatever we developing in the prototype, during prototype we need to be getting certification from government organization, that is the Bharat state, Bharat norms for emission level, safety level, performance level, everything need to be approved by the government. That is a lot of government organization is there. This is the major government organization in India by this ARI in Pune. This is the most high volume of, I think 90% of Indian homologation activity done by ARI. So then will come for VRD in Ahmednagar and ICAT and PARC. So PARC is Chennai. So these are the organizations, major organizations available in India. Is for any OEMs or any persons. If suppose you are doing some pilot lot or less volume production, tomorrow after completion of engineering you are going to start for some proprietary concern manufacture of small volume vehicles. You need to approach to these companies, organization to get the approval. Then we need to go to based on the ARI or ICAT approval certification. You can go to the RTO Transport Authority. We are going to launch this vehicle, so we need to get the approval for registration. So like that, this is the process. So you need to get the ARI or ICAT or FOR or VRD based on the availability of the instrument and I know the authorization given by the NATRIC. So these are all process identified by the different companies, organization. They will approve giving the certification to your vehicle or common level or subsystems. So anything. Suppose if you go for the new vehicle, that's for the whole vehicle test approval. And if you go for the subsystem, this is a subsystem or common level. So there's a different categories there. So what we need to be introduced in the vehicle or the whole vehicle, based on that we need to get the approval from organization. Okay, so if you need to go to directly to the organization, so if you there will not possible to slot will getting the approval, or if you go for getting need to be waiting the queue, and if you go for suppose if you are go to emission certification, so the calibration is not perfect, so you need to pay more. So that's the reason. We have a lot of other companies available in private sectors. You're going to approach them and get the pre-validation, pre-emission. So we've done it by before. Before reaching to the government certification agencies, we need to get some pre-certification level, and then for these are all companies. The example we are giving, the Bosch Bangalore, they are already they are doing the ECU manufacturer. Bosch, they have the test setup for the certificate pre-validation. And Delphi Chennai. So they are in the Delphi systems and Delphi EMS system. This is Bosch system. So majorly in India have the 3-4 ECU and EMS system is there. It's like Bosch, Delphi, Continental, and some value, so different categories there. So the test agencies will take it from outside is supporting Bosch, Delphi and AVL Delhi, and there the Delhi have test facility for in Delhi and Chennai also for some they are supporting for validation process, and they will manufacturing a lot of instruments for the testing instruments. And FEV Pune is one company is there. In the Jayam Automotives in Coimbatore, we are supporting for all OEMs with all component level manufacturer for the validation. So proto vehicle build, component development, engine and vehicle testing, EV car manufacturing, race car manufacturing. The same we are doing, and also we supporting for whoever developing the vehicles or components. We are supporting to them to based on their requirements. We have around 33 test bed in engine test bed in Coimbatore, and five more in Hyderabad, and also some one of engine reconditioning center in Hyderabad. So this is our GM facility, and also the on-site in Pune they are working around 250 people, in Coimbatore 650, and Chennai and different OEMs location also we are our employees is working. So why JM? The JM is supposed to come with the concept. For example, we one person need for just mind have some concept, make a small sketch. If they come, we can make a design for design and development, and proving prototype testing and production will give. So art to part, we are managing all the facility available enough. So we are in the from concept to production. So this is the JM facility. The type of testing in new development engine vehicle. For example, now all the vehicle have either ICV engines or the EV. So what is the ICV engine? The internal combustion engine now this all we are using, but in supposed to electric coming also, the ICV engine is still there, will not go out. That's why in the commercial vehicle not possible to 100% achieving the EV. Not possible. So anyway, is there in ICV internal combustion. So what are the vehicle categories there? So like in the category we split up. So this is for common for all, like any EV or in the ICV, everything is the common platform. So this is the category. But if you go for the homologation to certification agencies, we need to identify this is which category, which type of fuel use, which type of component use, we need to be identified. So like light duty vehicle, heavy duty on-road vehicle engine, and non-road this off-road engines. Okay. So if you go for small vehicle like EV or the car or something, if you go there is taking the certification in the vehicle level, that is the emission and safety, the norm certification given by vehicle level. If you go for heavy trucks or heavy vehicles, we'll go for the engine level and the separate components and engine level. And if you go for off-road, that's for the engine level validation. Okay. This is the category we need to give for different category engines. If you go for off-road vehicle, so what is the capacity, the engine power and power, like is non-road less than 90 kilowatt, less than 50 kilowatt. Based on that, we need to go for the homologation. And also, if you get it the homologation certification also in the batch, how many batches need to be production per year. Based on the production, we need to be there allot the COP. Conformity of production need to be getting approval from certification. So during production also we need to be 6 months or 3 months or 1 year. So they are identified based on the quantity of manufacturing. We need to get the approval for conformity of production regularly. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
In there, no? Okay. Yeah. This is the emission regulation. We have the different fuel and the ignition type. There's a type of ignition like spark ignition, combustion ignition. So I think you know about the spark ignition, based on spark plug petrol fuel, and combustion ignition is self-ignited by due to the temperature. Okay, so in the propulsion system, based on the propulsion system is the conventional and hybrid NOVC, that is for not off vehicle charging. So it's not possible to charging outside, we will self charge it like that. For example, in in series, so only the engine will coupled with in the vehicle, but that will continuously charging to the battery. So this is NOVC. And hybrid OC, that is for off vehicle, possible to charging in the outside also, and e-vehicles. So this is the category need to be identified, which category our vehicle will come. So we need to propulsion system identify, and fuel system in monofuel, that is single fuel or petrol and diesel, biofuel, biodiesel, and dual fuel. Dual fuel is the latest trend for high commercial vehicle. Due to this lot of fuel non-availability and cost, so they are using for multi fuel, like now this latest in the LNG projects, is going to start now. Like you are going to for example LPG in the gasoline as well as LPG, that is the already vehicle is in the market now, diesel as well as LNG. So like that the projects going on for self-ignited by diesel, and power will take it by LNG. So this is a very less cost per kilometer. So we'll get the more benefit for the high vehicle usage people, like commercial tracks or something. They are using for dual fuel. And flexi fuel. Flexi fuel means the ethanol and other fuels. The ethanol E10, E100, E85, like that. And hydrogen fuel also. So what is the difference in hybrid and electric vehicle definitions? For example, suppose you are using micro hybrid. What are the things available? Mild hybrid, pure electric vehicle. If you go for micro hybrid, whatever we see possible to see in the vehicle, like Mahindra, Scorpio, and Maruti. So all the things they are putting different name based on their requirements for like micro hybrid, mild hybrid, full hybrid, plug-in hybrid. So what are the items in this? Suppose if you go for a name of micro hybrid, so what are the name in that? The micro hybrid, there's vehicle are not tested. This for example, this table is engine start stop. Engine start stop condition is available, and e-boost is a normal mild micro hybrid where it will using for the IC engine. They are using for some additional configuration, that is for the micro hybrid, for some supporting, like for example if a lot of vehicles they have the clutch operation, that is the start stop option. If you use for the clutch operation, if you go to stop the vehicle in signals, so automatically engine will getting off due to saving some fuel. So that is the fuel saving option, that is for micro hybrid. So what are the option is available in micro hybrid? The engine start stop. Engine start means clutch off and on, automatically on. If you go, this is for the condition, need to be a condition. For example, if the clutch need to be off, you park it in the vehicle in signal. If your gear is neutral, this if you release the clutch, automatically this off. So if you press the clutch, engine will automatically on. So that is it. And e-boost system. E-boost system. What do you mean by e-boost system? The e-boost system means this is the electronic turbocharge, electronical boost, electronically controlled boost. So normal before they are using normal engine by the vacuum assisted turbo we are using. That's for the controlling there, but in the very accurate control if not there. So that's the reason they are using for the electronic operated. So we possible to control by ECU which condition how much boost needed, or otherwise we don't want to need to be controlled with very precious. So that is the e-boost available. So there's the e-boost and engine starts off is available. That is the micro hybrid. If you go for mild hybrid, so what the other things, the both the start stop is there, e-boost is there, and regenerative braking is there. Okay, regenerative braking. So that is the additional one to save the charging. And full hybrid. This is all three option, four options. Additional one is e-motor moves in the vehicle. So full hybrid. What is a full hybrid? So if we like, for example, like a serious hybrid, so vehicle will operated by electric motor only for supporting for all other for the motor. And plug-in hybrid, if you go for plug-in hybrid, that's with the external battery charging. So the external battery charging is if you available, that's for plug-in hybrid. And if you range extender, if you go for range extender, if you go for range extender, that's for the electrical. This is the e-boost not there, only additional in the, this is the pure electric driving. Okay. And pure electric vehicle, that is the e-vehicle, that is the name of BEV, battery electric vehicle. This is no start stop, no e-boost. Due to this, the engine not available, only for motor system. This is where regenerative braking is there, and e-motor vehicle moving is possible, and external battery charging is possible, and pure electric vehicle driving, and electric driving only. So the complete no engine option is not there. So that's a pure electric vehicle.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Why electrical vehicles are not, why it is convenient as like that of petrol and diesel, and why it is not popularized, and why it is not going in the market so much as petrol vehicles?
No, you are asking electric vehicle not moving so much is not there. You are asking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As
Yeah.
compared to petrol vehicles.
Yeah, correct. Actually, this is the main trend now is increasing now. So, this two three requirement is there. One is the first thing, the peoples will not aware about full electrics and the cost of the vehicle. And if any problem is there, we need to address. That's we need to be take. So anyway, if any vehicle, if you come new vehicle, that will slowly only catch up the market. So first scenario is the main problem is the cost of the vehicle is high compared to ICV vehicle. For example, the ICV vehicle now if you get it, the minimum at 2.5 to 3 lakhs will get the base vehicle by gasoline vehicle. With the same segment vehicle, if you go for electric, that will come around 7 to 8 lakhs minimum. Due to this, lot of cost will be occurred by battery.
Yes.
So if the other component will get it easier in India, but only this battery will now importing from outside. Okay, so then the cost is high with the battery. So still the development is going on. Once the battery development will getting better and better, then the cost automatically will reduce. And we are looking for a lot of options. For example, Ashok Leyland now launching. Ashok Leyland and Mahindra is tie up. They are giving some vehicle option by the swiping, battery swiping method. This is the thing. Now Ahmedabad is running, so we are going to run the vehicle in some of Bombay and Ahmedabad city also. The big vehicles, buses, they already run. So now the population will going to increase by government bus also. So how will population will increase by using the swiping batteries, and cost need to be reduced. So if you automatically swiping battery using if used, then the total vehicle cost will be automatically reduced. So if your vehicle cost is reduced, everybody is interested to buy the vehicle.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. vehicle level validation. So if the vehicles, all the vehicles, how we going to test for that? This is the two testing. One is the on-road testing. One is the chassis dyno testing. What is the chassis dyno testing means? This vehicle will placed in the dyno inside the lab and run the vehicle like treadmill. So we are using for exercise. Some people will going for walking, running in outside. Some people is running in the treadmill. So treadmill is running in the same place. So like the vehicle need to be a vehicle running in the dyno is based on our requirement and controlled by the speed and load. This is given by dyno and control. And on road, the vehicle need to be run in outside the public roads and have the both have different advantages. One is that is the chassis dyno. If we run on the inside the lab, we can achieve the target kilometers in the very faster, and the testing with the very precious. Like if repeatability is possible. If you go for on-road testing in the public road, we not possible to run the vehicle in the same condition. Yeah, due to this other circumstances, the vehicles will come and other vehicle come, so that's the reason not possible to run for the same cycle. Repeatability is very difficult. But in the chassis dyno, we can run for the very precious and repeatability is more. So this is the chassis dyno. This is the top platform. This for sample things is top above top corner. That is the dyno room. The vehicle is parked in the dyno. This all dyno placed in the down of the floor. So like this from floor to down level, this dyno is there. Only top level we have this dyno roller. So like 40 roller is there. The roller only the center area. This is only possible to see in the center portion. The vehicle is parked in the dyno, and dyno will controlled by the controller, and we giving the cycles based on, suppose the vehicle need to be run some different cycles. If you want to run the vehicle some track cycle or in the some city cycle, we need to be simulate the vehicle and run the vehicle in dyno. This is the control chassis is continuous running. For example, 10,000, 1 lakh kilometers, the vehicle need to be run continuously. And getting what are the failures will getting in powertrain. And based on the failures, we need to again redesign and will modify and use the vehicle to remanufacturing. And during that, we can taking this all data capturing by the software and analysis for feature and current and feature everything for possible. If you go for any modification, we possible to compare with the current data with the future data. This have is dyno and the controller is there. This is the controller in the dyno, and as well as the ECU, vehicle ECU, and this Buma, one of the software is the Cameo. This is the DOE calibration software. This software, if automatically this controlled, if you make it a program for what we needed to run the vehicle and calibrated. So if you program, that will take care for the different modeling structure and run it. If anything will go in beyond, that's the controlling the actuators and controlling by the ECU, and the vehicle will run it and get the data with very faster time. So this is the system by AVL supplied Cameo software for calibration purpose. This is a vehicle testing with a different condition. In the IC vehicle, normally we'll test it for the purpose in powertrain, fuel, oil, coolant consumption, test for petrol and diesel cars. Energy, if you go for electrical vehicle, this is the energy consumption for electric and hybrid vehicle. What is the energy consumption for the vehicle, and powertrain durability, common and light validation, environment test, cold start and hot start. So normally the two type of dyno is there. One is the emission validation, another one is chassis mileage accumulation. So the mileage accumulation is, this is the point. The vehicle will continuously running 1 lakh kilometer based on every 10,000 kilometer service point servicing and run it. What are the problems will come? So these are all the parameters need to be monitored in the mileage accumulation chassis dyno. For example, there's a fuel 10,000 kilometer run. After that, what is the fuel consumption is there, and oil, how much consumption, coolant consumption. These all basic parameters made for the every people's using the vehicle every day our running cost. So that's the reason this validation we need to be done before launching the vehicle. And common and life validation will continuously running the vehicle for when the common will failure. So that is a common life validation. And environment test. Environment test for if you send manufacture the vehicle will not possible to manufacture for the different environment, different country is possible. So they are manufacturing the same vehicle, and also the customers will drive the vehicle from hot area to cold area. So that's the reason we need to be validate in the both the condition for cold start as well as hot start. If you cold start we are using for an Ooty something, we send the vehicle in Ooty and park it in the very chill area, or otherwise we'll send it for very cold countries. As of now, the BS6 norms we need for the cold for minus 40. Minus 40. If you go for the ready available in the environment with minus 40 temperature, we can possible to test, or otherwise in the lab. We have the cold chamber. That chamber we put it in the vehicle inside the chamber and park it for 13 hours in the minus 40. So all engine, coolant, oil, everything will go goes freezes in the minus 40. I think not freezing due to we using there some additives like coolant or something. That's the reason that's will capable for not freezing. But the temperature will be in the minus 40. So we during the time we need to be start. We need to be getting immediate stop. So, or otherwise we need to be calibrated by the ECU to accommodate for all fuel and air, everything will compensation will give it, and by calibration we need to be vehicle capable to start in cold condition, and also the same thing in the hot condition. So we can go to run the vehicle in hot condition. So with our vehicle is capable for running in the cold. If you run the vehicle in hot, that's will getting cheese or something, cheese in due to piston cheese or something. So that's the reason we need to validate in the very hot area also. So the both the condition, if you validate, this vehicle is valid for all the condition. So it's possible to sell the vehicle in any environment. And the next is the emission level chassis dyno. This emission level chassis dyno, tailpipe emission, that is for the in outlet of the exhaust, and raw emission, that is for the before cat we need to measure, and after cat, post cat and pre cat. RD, now this all the vehicle need for RD, real driving cycle condition. So they are using for in the bottom vehicle, the nearby fix it in the emission unit in the vehicle and run the vehicle in outside, or the same cycle will converted to cycle in the chassis dyno and run it. So that is the PEMS unit. So the evaporative emission. Evaporative emission means there is a vehicle is parked in outside in the hot area or in the home, that's will evaporating from the fuel, and during running due to fuel hot condition, that's will evaporating, and engine unburned gases that will come out. So these are all the evaporative emission. What is it? That will need to be measured. These emission gases we normally in the CO2, NOx, CO, HC, and particulate mass, that is a PM. So these are all up to BS4. In BS6 is coming for the particulate number, the PN, that is for particulate number. Okay. So these are all measured for in the BS6 vehicle, ICV vehicle. So this is they are trying to achieve the minimum level already they are achieved. So if we go for still reduce is they are trying, so need to be invest more. If you go for investing high, that the vehicle cost will be automatically rise. So then we not possible to sell to the customer. So customer not interested to buy the vehicle with the more cost. So that's the reason there. What is the other option? They are using the different alternative fuels like hybrid vehicles and EV or hydrogen vehicle or fuel cell. Everything that will go to move to the other end. So these are the emission unit for measuring the exhaust in the vehicle. So AVL AMA I60 to measure this whatever the gases we are telling. So that's will be possible. So we'll from the vehicle we'll take the exhaust and diluted undiluted gases there. There's diluted with the standard volume of gases and how much particle percentage or ppm is available in the mixed in the standard calibration gases. That value is converted to in percentage grams per kilometer. Grams in the vehicle level validation, that's grams per kilometer. If we go for engine level validation, that's grams per kilowatt hour. That is the output we're getting. So the government announced giving standard value for BS6. That's value within the limit. If you there, that vehicle is passed. If you crossing the limit, then they will say, inform us to send the vehicle back to recalibrated and redefined for the emission value, and then again will checking, and if reaching within the limit, that giving the certification. So these are all the value in the that unit. AMA I60 we can possible to see this is the value like THC, CO, CH4, NOx, NO, CO2. If there is a vehicle have now lot of instrument already is there in NOx. For example, EGR control. EGR is now the old EGR. Previously in the regular EGR valve is there. After that will come for the cold type. Now the EGR coming for the electronic type. So we can all the things will modernize in there. Still, how much is possible that will achieve, but with the lesser vehicle in the city running the vehicle passenger car, that will due to go for the very less emission, the nil emission by EV vehicle. That's the reason we are trend will goes to developing a lot of electric vehicle. This is the mass of carbon, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, then non-methane hydrocarbon, NOx, THC NOx, and PM and PN. This is the validation normally. This is the value of BS6 proposed. CO is 0.5 to 0.74 in the combustion ignition engine, and HC is not there, and HC NOx complete is combined is 0.7 to 0.215 grams per kilometer. This is all in the vehicle level, and NOx is 0.08 and 0.125, and PM 0.0045. PN is 6 into 10 to the power of 11. This is the number. And if you go positive ignition, that is the spark ignition. So 1 to 2.2 and 0.1 to 0.16. And NOx is 0.06 to 0.82, PM 0.0045, and 6 into the same. So this is the some basic sample for compression ignition and positive ignition. This is the emission if you go for any vehicle, like if you go for EV vehicle or IC vehicle, will send to certification. They have different cycles for validation. So based on the vehicle, they will validation whatever we supposed to see in the before. The category of vehicle like light, heavy, and spark ignition, combustion ignition, or EV, or hybrid vehicle, any vehicle, they have the cycle need to be run, and what is the value of emissions and what is the consumption. So everything need to be measured due to this different vehicle have if you run it differently, that's will not possible to match. It's not possible to certify. So that's the reason they have standard cycles. That cycle they followed and run the vehicle in chassis dyno and get it the readings and giving the approved certification. So like a modified Indian drive cycle, the Indian drive cycle is the two-wheeler or something. This based on the seconds is there and what the RPM need to be run. This left side is the kilometer per hour, the vehicle speed, and here the time seconds. So is the total 1180 seconds. And if you go for IDC cycle, that's 108 seconds. And how many cycle repeat. So based on that, they will run it and get the value with compare with their standard value. If you less than that, they will approve, and if not there, we need to go to redefine. This is a modified thing. In NADC extend up to 120 km per hour. Max speed 90. Based on the vehicle speed, the norms will be the speed and RPM need to be run in the dyno and measure. This is another one of cycle for the WTC. This is a high speed cycle. This is the current DS6 norms for the RD emission cycle. So these are all cycles, the standard cycle they follow with based on the vehicle. Another one, if you go for commercial, heavy commercial vehicles, that's we need not possible to take the vehicle in the dyno and test it. So that's reason we are using for the engine test bed. The engine test bed engine will take it from the vehicle and fit it in the dyno. And this center of the unit is the engine dyno. And based on the engine dyno, the dyno will be vary different condition. If you go for 150 kilowatt engine, you need to take, for example, 200 kilowatt dyno. Like that need to be choose, and the air in the engine inlet air need to be conditioned air like 30-degree temperature, plus or minus 3 degree, and pressure need to be 1 bar. So normally in the room temperature here the atmosphere is 960 millibar. We need to be go for 1000 millibar. That is the 1 bar. Need to be adjusted. So all the vehicle need to be maintained the same condition for the lab. So like that we need to be 1 bar and that in the inlet air. And fuel conditioning, we need to maintain the fuel for 30 degree, and coolant conditioning we need to maintain 80-85 by thermostat condition. We need to be conditioned and giving supply. And boost air condition, this is the boost air condition. If you go for supplying the air with what is the required bar, for example something 1.2 bar, that bar boost bar need to be maintained. And lube oil conditioning, it need to be oil temperature 120 to 140 degree temperature need to be maintained for all conditions. If you go for cold starting, this oil temperature, if you need for starting condition oil, we need to be give for temperature. So like that, based on the cycle, this all controlled by the dyno controller, and giving the, we need to be feed the program by what temperature, what RPM, what temperature, what pressure need to be maintained. That pressure controlled by dyno. And if you go by beyond or low, that's automatically engine getting off. So that's automatic alarms and the engine idle. So that's taken care by the system. That is the reason we showing the before like Puma and Cameo. This lot of dyno software is there. That will based on the requirement to sophisticated requirement. We need to use the high-end software. And if you go for exhaust, there is a urea consumption SCR system and back pressure adjustment. The back pressure normally in the exhaust system is 400 millibar. That back pressure need to be controlled by the control bar. And the urea consumption, how much is dosing based on the pressure difference, you need to be dosing by exhaust. That's also controlled. And exhaust flow after harmful gases converted and diluted and the atmosphere. This is display automation like engine control, dyno control, engine control, engine RPM controlling. Dyno control is the load controlling. safety system, that is for any safety alarms and engine gate. If anything problem that will come to idle, that's safety system. Test bed and engine mounting, and ECU control, ECU interface. ECU interface, normally the ECU is controlled by the engine sensors. So we need to control from our test bed. We need to use for ASAP 3 connected with the dyno and ECU to interlink with by ASAP 3. That will taking controlled all the data will capture, ECU data also capture in the dyno, and possible to control from dyno.
தெரியலையே இது வரைக்கும் தெரிய கேட்டா
This is the two cycle is available for the engine level validation, like European traction cycle and European stationary cycle. European traction cycle is the fastest cycle, and stationary cycle is the steady state. We can stop the engine in every RPM like 1000, 2000, 3000 up to max RPM, and take the different load condition and measure the emission value. That is the European stationary cycle. And if European transient cycle will run the vehicle in the cyclic load and capture the emission in the mass emission and dilute and check it how much this total cycle, how much quantity of emission gas is collected and what is the standard value need to compare. So these are all the standard testing labs are available. That is the high speed track. For left side is the high speed track, and right side the center is the steering pad testing, and the bottom is also steering pad. It's a circular track continuously running, and during the running time we need possible to lock a steering and measure the what is the torque, and any pulsation will come, that will be measured by this torque meter, some load cells and strain cages, all other we need to be instrumented and take it. High speed we can do the, if you go for 140 or something, that will need continuous running and data possible to log. This track is available in Chennai, Corp. This native in Chennai is there, Oragadam, and VRD. So all they have the different load condition is possible to run, and some special roads have the some rough patches and measure the suspension validation. This is a Curry track motorsport track in Coimbatore. We are running the vehicle in here, and we possible to get the more failures and running validation here. This state patch is 0.75, and all corner this state patch we can possible to achieve 120 to 140, and corners we can achieve by 50 to 60 km/h. And due to running, we can get more load in the inner wheels continuously running. So this is the track, the on-road testing. This is a special test for the mud test and some snow test and water fall test, and the instrument measured for the suspension actions, that is for WFT, the force meter. So we can instrument it and run the vehicle and measure the values. This is ICV testing. Now is coming to EV testing. So nowadays lot of testing started in the EV. Lot of testing started in the EV by condition of motor, first vehicle level. Vehicle level if is there, like whatever we discussed in the chassis running. So vehicle we need to run in the specific cycle and run for what is the how much kilometers running the vehicle, and what are the problems coming. That is the on-road testing, and vehicle running, chassis also running, and the individual component level need to be validated. For example, we are manufacturing Neo vehicle. It's already tested the vehicle for 2.5 lakhs kilometers we are running. We can got our vehicle is around 150 kilometers per charge. So like that, this a lot of vehicle, for example, Tesla and all, they are already using for 300 kilometers based on the battery pack. So they will possible to achieve fast charging system. So the what is the testing now in the EV? How much kilometer is running per charge, and what are the common failure? What are the noise or in the gearbox system and failures? And what is the temperature during continuous running? What is the temperature will come? And like motor or transmission or battery pack, what is the temperature will come is continuously running. So how to reduce the temperatures? So these are our parameter during testing need to be monitored. And so battery pack. So if we go for all the condition, for example, 100% charge if you run it, and 50% charge and 25%. So what are the reaction? What are the problems will come during this different conditions? So this is the testing, running the vehicle and monitor the parameters. In the EV testing, we need to be vibration test for the any vibration is there due to humming or the motor running condition, and thermal shock and cycling if any component failure will come, and mechanical impact test, fire resistance, external shock circuit, uh, external shock circuit protection. For example, vibration test, if there is any vibration is there, we need to check. Thermal shock, if you go for high variation of different temperature condition, how motor will react, and other controller how we react. Suppose we are going for vehicle is running in the hot area to cold area, so how is the response? So we need to be monitoring the thermal shock system. If we testing the vehicle condition, or if we put it in the vehicle component in the thermal shock chamber, cycle chamber to measure for the different low temperature to high temperature. And mechanical impact, if we go for this safety things in mechanical impact, what are the failures there, sudden if we go for sudden cut off, the mechanical impact need to be have the cut off also is there. If we go for accident or something, we need to cut off all the things, or otherwise if we catch fire or something is there, we need to be complete system will need to be off. So that's mechanical impact test we need to be done. We need to do that. That is, these all parameters need to be monitored and giving the specification by this government organization. For we go for communication and fire resistance, all the wire, how is the fire resistance, and if you put the battery pack in the packaging, how the fire resistance and motor packaging. So that's need to be fire resistance safety we need to be checked. And external shock circuit protection, that is the shock circuit only. If you get an accident, so completely cut off. So the external shock circuit or any short circuit in there, that's need to be checked. And overcharging protection, if you go for overcharge, that's will protection is there or continuous there. By for example, supposed to charging the vehicle, if you go for running, and during running if you regenerative there operate, if you continuous regenerating it is there, battery is the maximum limit it become, then after that will not charging, will not able to not required to charge, so that need to be cut off. If overcharging be there, so that need to be checked. And over discharge protection and over temperature protection, endurance test. Endurance is complete running for vehicle, for example 1 lakh 2 lakh kilometers. So what are the failures will come? The limb mode test. So the battery completely will discharge without discharge. So 20% or 30%, how much is we need to be put? If you come, that will cut the all other safety systems. And SOC, state of charge, we need to know. And environment test, temperature and altitude test, and EMC test. So if they all these is all for electronic systems, this all electronic system affecting by EMC. For example, the vehicle is moving some electrical circuit area, so if anything affecting with the EMC, so that's the reason we parking our vehicle or in the EMC lab, and will and in the radiation how is operating our vehicle, accepting there is any without problem how is reacting this vehicle. So we need to be EMC testing and vehicle level vehicle lighting test. And the motor need to be validated peak power and torque test and rated power and torque test. This is the peak power. What is the peak power? We need to be validate how much power is there. Motor we need to put it in the dyno and run it for max RPM. So how much power and torque will come, we need to be take. So what is the peak torque and peak rated power and rated torque need to be test. Efficiency of the motor and efficient test. Motor torque setup response test. This all will need to be validated. Test motor torque control accuracy test. So if you run the motor with giving dyno, this motor will getting a very fast response or not. You need to check. So that's we need to do. And feedback power generating test. Regenerating mode we need to be check, and motor performance and strategy optimization test. Motor drive mode switching and energy management. Then steady state road load simulation. Steady state we need to be run for the different stages need to be run, and road load simulation in the chassis. Then acceleration, braking, economy, sport driving and other tests. For example, now lot of people's we need to be interested to run the vehicle by economic mode or sport mode. For example, current Tata vehicle have 3 modes like city mode, economy mode or sport mode. So we are going to buy the vehicle with the younger peoples, we need for the very sporty vehicle, and I think older people they want to be economic and smooth riding. So in one single family will not possible to buy the 3 different vehicles in the normal people. So that's the reason we have option of by electronically control is a 3 mode options by economy, city and sport mode. If you run the sporting mode, this more fuel, more energy is consuming and getting the very performance vehicle with the high speed and high torque. And if you go for the economic mode, we'll run this very smooth driving, we'll get the more efficiently. So this is the 2-3 options. Based on the options we can use it. So how is the acceleration test? If you sudden acceleration will proceed, how if the smooth acceleration will get, or any jerking or sudden impact jerking. So that and all we need to be tested. And braking time we need to be smooth deceleration needed, and sport driving and others. So these are all driving conditions need to be tested in the vehicle. And standard cycle tests such as ECE and NADC cycle. That is the normal validation cycle for the. So this is the vehicle for Tesla vehicle. This charging. This is a motor wheel motor. The way a lot of different conditions motors will come. This is a normal motor and gearbox. Then we'll go to drive shop. And apart from that, now is a both side. This is a motor and directly connected the thing with a single reduction gearbox. This is a gearbox option. We have normal economy. One is the normal mode, and another one is sporting mode. If you go for normal auto mode, this smoothly running the vehicle, and if you go to sporting mode with the performance thing. But only one reduction. So this is in gearbox. No need for the different gear ratio gearbox. Due to this is motor will getting the very low from low RPM to high RPM will get the flat torque. So that's the reason no need for the gear change. The gear change normally IC vehicle is there for due to the torque difference. But that's the reason they are using for the gear reduction, and going up they will change the gears. But here we'll get the flat torque, so no need for the more gear ratio difference. This is motor and will split up with only differential. That differential will go to the both drive shaft and wheel. So directly the motor will fitted in the wheel type, and this is will reduce the more transmission mechanical losses, all things possible to reduce for the wheel motor. And latest have is a very low speed, directly the motor in the wheel itself, wheel motor. This is for the in the center of the vehicle. This place in the motor, and only one production and differential will go split up the drive with the both the wheel. So no other transmission and mechanical parts, so it possible to reduce the mechanical losses. This is the motor, and this is the inside transmission, single speed transmission, inside gears. This is the differential unit, and inside the motor coupling directly will put it and connected to the differential, and the differential unit in the 90 degree split of the this differential will split up the rotation with both the wheels. This is the torque and power comparison of motor and ICV. If you go for ICV engine, this torque will start from low and then will go to higher and down. Okay, but in EV, this will motor will getting the flat torque up to the torque area, and then power in the power region. But this is a torque and power ICV. So that's the reason we possible to normally so we using for in the other option with the twin turbo by low end one turbo and higher end one turbo. This is a two turbo by using low end, or otherwise hybrid vehicle will operating the electric support by the low end will get the low end torque, and high end by IC engine. This is a turbo and engines. So that's the reason. So now the electric, anyway the electric motor will have the flat torque from 0 to so we'll get the flat torque. That's the reason this is more efficient by electric motor, but only due to the component cost high, so not exploring that much now. So this is have different options we are using. One is the swiping thing, swiping batteries, and other now exploring by this retrofitment. This option also is possible to will there, but all the IC engine is converted to the electric vehicles. That's will easy to exploring and the vehicle in EV vehicle in market. So this is the different curve by the torque with respect to RPM. The internal combustion engine, you can see this torque will go up and down, and electric vehicle will go to the flat torque. This actual taking the difference you can see. This is the motor will go directly straight, quick response, and then will go to the flat. And but in the ICV engines will go slowly in that. How you can see the difference, and then will flat, and then again will top. So that is the reason only these electric motors will get more flat tire, and we are going to use now with very shorter we get all the vehicle in EVs converted in the lower end vehicles. This is the constant torque region and the constant power region for motors. Rotor speed and motor torque. This is another major one point is regeneration study, the study of level of regeneration, effect of regeneration in driving field and passenger. The regeneration, if is there, need to be without affecting driver comfort feel we need for the regeneration. the regeneration is very speed and load condition. Normally the regeneration is due to the braking you can get the regeneration. If you have heavier vehicle is a truck or a train, so that's still getting more effective regeneration is possible instead of two-wheelers. So that's the reason two-wheeler and all will not that much similarity is regeneration for the higher end vehicle. This regeneration strategy with respect to battery SOC, brake pedal, battery temperature, motor temperature, and inverter temperature. What is the regenerative braking? Normally, the braking common terms is automotive industry is compulsory. All the vehicle have the brake thing. When vehicle arrives in the market, one of the specification type of. Normally, we are using the vehicle for drum brake or disc brake for the common braking system. In electric vehicle, we are using regenerative brake. If you apply the brakes, this due to the heat and pneumatic force that will convert it to electrical energy. You can restore in the battery through motor by operating like generator. How the vehicle get stopped? The Newton first law of motion says that object continues in state of rest or uniform motion unless the external force applied.
ఎక్సిడెంటరా ஜி கதிர் பேசுகிறேன். ஜி ப்ரெசென்ட் வெளியே போய்ட்டு காணல இல்லை. ஒரு நிமிஷம் ஒரு நிமிஷம்.
Hello. Yes, it's audible.
Dear participants, participants, sorry for the inconvenience. Please have to wait.
Sir, not received me feedback link.
The participant, please stay on the line. Sorry for the inconvenience.
தாங்கள் தொடர்பு கொள்ளும் எண் தற்சமயம் தொடர்பு எல்லைக்கு வெளியே உள்ளது. தயவு செய்து பின்னர் முயற்சிக்கவும். The number you're calling is out of network coverage area. Please try later. आपके द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर नेटवर्क कवरेज क्षेत्र से बाहर है. कृपया कुछ समय पश्चात प्रयास करें.
ஹலோ
சார் சார் ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணலாம் சார். சார்
ஆக்சுவலி பவர் ஸ்டேஷன்.
ஓகே சார் ஓகே சார் ஓகே. எஸ் சார் எஸ் சார் எஸ் சார். ஓகே சார் ஓகே சார்.
Yes, sir. It's audible.
ஆடிபிள் ஒன்லி ஆடிபிள் ஒன்லி.
Yeah.
ஓகே சார் கன்யூ சார் கன்யூ சார்.
Okay, wait. Challenge generating an electric vehicle equipped with the friction braking and generally regenerating can come alone in EV. Why? Because we not possible for all nation is not comfortable in the low end vehicles, and that's the reason is not all the vehicle is some of the vehicle some of manufacturers are using due to the cost reduction and type of vehicle they are using. The reason behind that not always possible to apply regenerative braking in EV effectively. That's the reason they will not using for all the vehicles. For example, due to the regeneration, if we continuous using this will battery and all will get affected. Okay. Oh, yeah, this is the one. This is state of charge SOC. SOC battery, speed of the vehicle, amount of Speed of the vehicle, amount of pressure applied on the brake pedal, effect of effectiveness, regenerative braking. Sometimes it is forced to prefer friction braking, stop the vehicle. And an electric vehicle fully charged battery cannot use regenerative braking. Obviously, the battery cannot accept more charges at the time of braking, should be frictional. If any situation when the battery cannot accept the charge, frictional braking override regenerative braking. So that's the reason we are not possible to use it continuously. If continuous the overcharging, this will affect the battery also. So once again, I'll connect it with the power. Yeah. Hello, hearing?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Audible only, sir.
Yeah, I changed the power. No.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. The life of the battery, due to the regenerative braking, the life of the battery also is affecting. Is an important concern. The electric cars customer would always prefer long life of battery since the replacement is a costly process. So yeah, I told na. So one of the major costly item in electric vehicle is the battery bank. Is the batteries. So that's the reason if you go for frequent battery, for example, we are using the vehicle, regular vehicle also, or in home also. For example, mobile, you are using the mobile. If the charge, if you go for 0 to 100%, if you charging the battery and use it for up to discharge of 10 or 20%, then you can recharge. You can get the more by battery. If you continuous charging and removing and again refit, so like that, if you there, this life of the battery will goes down. So the same thing will applicable for here also. The frequent charge and discharge cycle drastically reduce the battery life. So that's the reason regenerative in the major challenges. So need to be the proper controlling system. If you are the charging full charge, automatically need to be cut off by charging is needed. So that system controller need to be like BMS also. The speed of the vehicle matter is regenerative braking. Assume the vehicle travel at very low speed, and in that condition the efficiency of regenerative braking would be much low due to low speed. So tapping energy, low speed affect driver comfort as well as. So if you go for the vehicle is very less speed, regenerative braking not efficiently. So that's the reason the low speed vehicle they are not utilizing for the regenerative systems. Don't want to put it on a regenerative and be not possible to use. If we not adapted in that, we can save the development cost and production cost. So that's the reason the regenerative, not the low speed vehicles. And starts of mode driving, especially city traffic, is most preferable and effective region of regenerative braking. If you go for running in the city drive with this continuous braking and moving the vehicle, so we can get more start stop. That's the reason we can get the more regenerative the energy by regenerative braking. Where would be the regenerative braking will be effective? So I explained the previous section, regenerative braking cannot apply in all situations and vehicles. If you go for electric truck, electric train, electric cars, this is the most effective regenerative system to be adopted and using nowadays. It is the best choice for the application of regenerative braking. This large momentum, due to where there large momentum makes it easier to harvest energy during braking. During braking, we can possible to most harvest the energy by regenerative in the heavier vehicle due to the more load and heavy weight the vehicle due to the braking we can get more energy from the braking system. So other one is wiring harness steady is wiring harness layout validation and protection provision study, damage risk assessment and dimensional mapping and connector mapping, line wise risk assessment and communication of HV and LV vehicles. These are some of vehicle pack, HV line, common line and battery need to be evaluated and battery controller, how these different vehicles is available in packages in the battery pack and system, how is packaging. So as of now this is a sample of systems. Another one is in during electric vehicle, whatever the sir are asking why it is not exploring that much the EV. So another one is the safety. That time is told now. So a lot of people, if you run, if you new kind of fuels or new kind of things come. For example, previous the diesel vehicle we are using. After that, the gasoline and diesel. Then the LPG come. The LPG during LPG come, everybody is struggling to use due to the explosion. This LPG explosion. How is there? How does the damage is there? How is the problem will come? Then CNG come, there is a high pressure pressure tanks is built in the vehicle, that's explode if you there have the problem. So like that there after that is everybody they using this more vehicles in population in the market, then everybody this fear will goes off. So like that the EV also if you there is normally if you using for the battery, suppose they exploding the battery and these chemicals will spray. Exploding this chemical will spraying out to passengers will get problems. For that reason, there's a lot of fearness is there. Safety assessment we need. This cut-off measures. So if you go for high energy store, if you have full charge, that's we need to cut off. And if anything problem, that's automatically we need to cut off the whole system. And impact, external impact if there, that need to be cut off all the system. That is a cut off measures. And environment risk assessment, wiring, motor and other exposed parts. Any damages or anything there, and if for the high current if there, like the electric motor if you use for 48 volt motor and 500 amps, this all will high current will be flowing from one place to other place if you crossing or due to the pakka packaging needed. So we need the with the full safety condition. If you are otherwise that will touch up in the body, that will getting risk. So that's the reason the environment risk, or if you go for moving, if you pack the battery pack in the floor, will maybe if we go for the speed brake, will touch with that, that will get damage and will explode or something there. That's the biggest problem. And anything will parts in the floor that will touch in the floor and will get affected. So these all need to be considered for like wiring, motor and other exposed parts. Where it is placed, how is packaging, that's need to be safety assessment. And risk assessment of the life cycle scenarios. So in future we are doing running, so what are the risks which come in the component, how is the fail, and if the fail, so how is the we need possible to safeguard the component. So all is a costlier component, we how to safeguard, how to make a measures for the safety measurement. And accidental risk study, and battery casing pressure handling study, battery casing pressure handling study. So the battery pack is there, how much pressure will be accepted by the battery casing. So in the load condition is there, if we hit will not possible to affected to the not affected to the battery. So that there need to be battery case pressure handling study, and study of wiring base and hazard, critical and non-critical wirings. So if you go for the whatever the seeing the critical wiring for the main motor wiring, with high current flowing wiring and normal controlling wires, the non-critical wiring. That's how to safeguard by with the proper packaging with the safety systems and warning measures. What are the any problems, battery discharge or battery down, or if you not there, we need to be the cluster have the warning alarms, warning measures will be there, how is there working or not, and indications, everything need to be measured. And other subsystem dependency and failure scenario for cooling system safety, activation, line damage risk. Like cooling system, if you go for battery overheating, if you there need to be cut off the system. And if you pour the motor overheating, that will need to be off. And controller, if you overheat, so all the system will there beyond the temperature, that will need to be cut off the systems. So that by warning measures. And the maintenance and serviceability study. So effort and accessibility study. If their maintenance, how is the, if you suppose if you using for the swiping battery, how to easy pack removing and refit. And if you need to be change the battery, how we can possible to changing by the cell, individual cells or battery, and group of cells will take it out, they need to be easy, or otherwise very complicated packaging with there. Not possible to maintenance and serviceability is not easy. So that's the reason we need to be make it very clear, defined packaging need to be added. That is the effort and accessibility study need to be made, and compartmentalization and skill level requirement, risk involved, and roadside repairability. So there is the main factor is the roadside repairability is the main factor. If you go for the vehicle in the market, for example Maruti, if you know this Maruti is a very popular vehicle and more market occupying the vehicle, how is that possible? So they have the vehicle in by every technician possible to repair in anywhere. So that is they are giving the major advertisement also for in the Maruti vehicle. If you go for any interior or any,
Excuse me, sir.
the major high costly car, if you
Excuse
go
me,
for,
sir.
if any failure, then you need to, yeah.
Sir, we have only 5 minutes more. Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, we have only 5 minutes. We have only 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, we can.
The meeting will within 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And roadside repairability. Okay. And vibration study component, vibration evaluation thing, battery, motor. This how is the vibration is there? You need to monitor by NVH and accelerometers and validation, and this logging for during running and chase diagnostic thing. We can monitor these parameters for all the components and validate, and need to be reduced by the vibration and study. And control logic things, and power consumption, motor control, torque and RPM curve. How is the power consumption is there during the torque and RPM, and energy balance from battery to wheel. So we need to be DC to converter efficiency, battery efficiency, motor efficiency. We need to monitor battery evaluation, electrical performance with different temperature condition in the room temperature and some other high temperature. So what is the electrical performance in the battery discharge and discharge performance need to monitor, and electrical performance different temperature with 3 to 45 degree, or normally the battery will goes up to 60 if you get the cutoff. So we can need to maintain up to 45 degrees centigrade, it will performing the system. So cranking, if you go for the cold condition, we need to be a continuous cranking. What is the response there? We need to measure, and the endurance test will follow the 1000 cycles. Okay, and electrical test, external short circuit or overcharging test as per IAS 048, and mechanical vibration and shock IAS 048. Yeah, thanks for hello.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
for your informative speech. That
Uh,
is very useful. Post in the chat box. Please participate.
Yeah, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, kindly give me your mail ID for your further queries because the session has to
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Sasikumar@jayamoto.com.
Okay, sir. Sir, I will post in chat box, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Sasikumar@jayamoto.com. You can share that or otherwise Sasi
Okay, sir.
_Kumar 2002 @yahoo.com. Okay, any hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, any
Sir,
anything that you can share?
we have only 3 minutes, sir. So better, we will give the mail ID to all participants.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
They will say we can give the reply through this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Thanks for all. Yes.
sir, wait, sir. Now we have end session, sir. Now I request Anu Nandini ma'am, Amipriya ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Now
okay,
I
ma'am.
request Mr. Karpusamy, sir, Triple Department, to give a short summary about the webinar program. Please, sir.
Testing of internal combustion vehicle to electrical vehicle. The overall review of today's session. The current trend and future where need of development testing, the types of testing, EV components, regeneration, safety, maintenance and service. These are the valuable points where discussed by resource person. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Now-
thank you, sir. Yes.
Now the time to deliver the vote of thanks for all. First of all, I would glad to thank our chief guest for his valuable speech and accepting our invitation. Through this event, we learn more technical knowledge about the electrical vehicle. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I extend my thanks to our correspondent, Dr. P.V. Kandasamy, sir, for their support in all aspects. Thank you, sir. And I extend my thanks to our principal, Dr. P. Shanmugam, sir, who have guided us in all events. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I extend my thanks to our head of the department, Mr. P. Manoj Kumar, sir, who is the initiator of this live webinar program in a great manner. Thank you so much, sir. And I extend my sincere thanks to our department coordinator of this live webinar program, Professor S. Gauri Shankar, sir, and Professor P. Manoj Kumar, sir, and also our department staff member, who are all working hard in the past 1 week for arranging the live webinar and to be completed in a grand success. I would like to ask them to extend the same support for the future event also. Thank you all. The faculty, all the faculty members and all participants, without you, we couldn't complete the function in a great manner. Thank you all. Once again, thanks for giving me the opportunity and thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I request the coordinator, sir, to guide the participants.
Okay. The feedback link will be posted in the chat box only. Kindly fill up the feedback. Then only you will get e-certificate within this week. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all active participants.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, kindly your link from the webinar. Thank you all.
പാവം ഭയമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഇല്ലാന്ന്
Okay, leave the meeting all.